somewhere.
So, yeah. All right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Let's stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a couple, before we do roll call, we have a couple of new people here tonight that I'd like to introduce. First, we have Paul Perry is our town council liaison now, and welcome aboard. Paul, you want to tell us what you do? And
well, right now I'm the new District 2 town councilman, but I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in the area and am a 8-year resident of the town and a 31-year resident of the community.
okay, thank you. And we also have Jenna Rickard, who is interested in becoming or coming on to the advisory board committee. Jenna is very accomplished, and Jenna, would you like to tell us just a few of the things that you do? You can maybe, since you don't have a microphone, maybe go over to the microphone over there. Is that on, Andrea? Okay.
Hi, thank you all so much for allowing me to be here tonight and to see what all goes on. I'm Jenna Rickard. This is Sophie Rickard, my daughter. After evening meetings, a lot of times she tags along, and so she's a good sport. My husband, Brandon, and I recently moved into the town of Newburgh. We've been residents of Warwick County for several years. But I come from many years of economic development. I started off in healthcare, transitioned out, did rural county economic development, and then did regional economic development for the 4-county region, and most recently have moved to CenterPoint Energy, where I work on the economic development team and do local external affairs and government affairs for the CenterPoint Energy team. So I'm very involved in a lot of things, economic development, have done real estate for many years. I sit on several boards. I would be afraid to even try to name them all, but I assume probably some of the most important ones are I sit as a board member for the Evansville Regional Economic Partnership, and the main reason is I am a board member for our Regional Development Authority, and then several others that are very similar in line like that. So had many years of passion towards quality of place and industrial work and business attraction, business retention, all of those things. More recently, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, Jay, and when you kind of go through that stage of life, my passions have changed just a bit to where I was very accomplished and driven in my career. I still am, but taking a little bit of a shift as a mom really has me focused on how I can make more of an impact in my community and how my kids are affected by that work. So being here and kind of seeing how this works and what you all do is very important work, and I'm also very passionate about it. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but thank you for letting us be here.
Well, thank you so much for wanting to volunteer to be on this advisory board.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we'll do roll call. Randy Wheeler.
Here?
Susan Melfi.
Here.
Tammy Coker is on her way to someplace in Florida. Anna Liz Moore, I think, is in the sky on her way home from London. And Mary Ann Wilsbacher, I'm here. Joe Kuhn is on vacation also. Bill Bruns?
Here.
Okay. And then staff, Paul Perry,
Present.
Chris Cook,
Here.
Andrea Balboni,
Here.
Connor Vogel.
He is not here today.
Okay. All right. We've all received the minutes from the meeting on June 5th by email.
And they say May 1st, but they're June 5th, and I will correct that, that top portion.
And then I have to correct where I signed, because I just did it right off the fair. not even
You did,
thinking
you
I
signed
did.
the right one, yes, okay. Yes, so I will correct that.
Okay. That's a tricky one to find every month.
You know, I get going, I get typing.
I know, it's a tricky one. It really is. We don't have any citizens.
You need a motion to approve them.
Oh, yeah, we need to do a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And we don't have any citizens except our young citizen, what's her name?
Sophie.
Sophie. We have Sophie here, but I don't think she has questions. No questions, okay.
And no speech.
And then we have some new business. Control building number 47, basement cleaning.
Do you want to take that, Cook?
Basically, that, let me get to the agenda. If you look in your pocket, we have a partnership with ServPro, and recently they've noticed some stuff that needed to be addressed after the recent flooding. Now, of course, we had everything cleaned out, and you can see under the, it's, you get to it in the pocket, so I'll read it right.
That's it right there.
Yep, on page number 2, you get into some of the stuff that they need to do within the basement. It's mainly just the moisture and some of the stuff that's getting in there. This would help to abate some of that, and there's different estimates on options that they can do. But to do the total work, that's about
I think it was 6,000.
6,000
something.
300 and,
Mhm.
here, I
52.
should probably speak up there. $6,352.57. And the town would recommend that we work with our partner, ServPro, to address this issue. And we would seek approval from the board so that we can get this area kind of locked down so that we can continue to preserve and protect the building.
Yeah, that building is a very important building to our town and to our park system.
And so this would be a recommendation from you guys to town council. So you just, whatever, if you make a motion to approve it, it'd be a motion to recommend.
What, I see missing wall on a couple of these places. What does that mean? Missing wall?
Just down, I mean, I've been down there millions times, just from when they renovated and stuff, they just took
Took a
walls
wall
out.
out.
So we don't, so
Okay.
no one's allowed down there,
Right.
when they rent the facility. And we used to use it from storage, but just with the amount of, that it floods now and the amount of stuff in there, we really don't use it for much, but it just mitigating that and keeping it clean down there helps with, the smell and everything
Mhm.
up.
And plus,
Yeah.
if you don't address it, it'll continue
Right,
to get
yes,
worse.
Yeah,
yes,
worse, yeah.
Water damage and mold are a terrible thing.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
recommend approval of this.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? I think it sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea. I had no idea there was this much space down there.
Oh, it's huge. It's
It, yeah, I have never been down there. I've been up. Are they going up into the, where the tables are stored and take care of that rafter area?
So it's the
up
whole,
there
it's the whole floor plan down. In the 70s, they used to have dance parties down there.
Yeah.
I read it in the minutes.
too? One of my friends, they had dance parties in the basement? Well, one of my friends said that she and another woman held teen dances down there every week during the 70s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're a braver woman than I am. So, yes, I think this is a good idea, so,
And so I've already put this on the agenda for council, pending your guys' approval. So it'll go to council at the next meeting, which is next week on the 9th, I believe.
okay, so let's go ahead and vote to approve this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Then we have Little Brick Building roof replacement. and Old Lock and Dam gazebo roof replacement.
Okay, in your packet, there are 2 quotes from Royalty, and the reason why we went with Royalty is they were the recent low and most responsive bidder that did the work on the senior center. So we reached out to them. We'll focus on the brick house first. That's a cedar shake type of roof, and there aren't many companies that can do that. And you would look at the estimate down there of $12,821. That's just the cost of doing business when you're dealing with that type of historic material. This would kind of address, it seems like in the past few months, every storm that we've had, we're picking up cedar pieces in the nearby area. And with the work that the town has done within the structure, it kind of behooves us to fix that roof so we don't have damage for the nice stuff that's been done inside the building. So we would seek the approval to replace that roof from this to take forward to the council.
I know that this seems like a very large number, but we have cedar shakes on our gazebo, and it costs twice as much to replace the cedar shakes on the gazebo than it did to buy the whole thing. So.
And then, just so you know, I mean, even with Royalty, I think last year before Chris came in, I contacted a bunch of people, and no one either wanted to deal with the historic nature of it, or I think the one that did was so far out that it wouldn't have been worth it. Just so you guys know, I mean, we had that same issue when the tornado came through and took off part of the roof in the control building. Just to replace those historic tiles, that was over $100,000
Yeah.
for that historic roof. So it is expensive. This also, I mean, it's like for like, so it doesn't have to go to HPC. If we were to attempt to put anything else on, it would have to go through HPC, and I don't think they would approve it, just the history of that building anyways. Because Chris and I kind of talked about that, to maybe get a different quote to see, but we just decided that with the historic nature of the building, with what
And we
we're
want
trying
to
to,
keep
what
it
we're
that
trying to
way.
accomplish in that park,
And
we
plus,
want to go
because
ahead.
we had the recent quote process on the senior center, we can kind of piggyback on that to cover our, our backside with the state. Because we've gone out to bid on another roofing project, so we can kind of, we're within that window where we could use them for this. And if I've already gotten 2 no's, so we're covered either way from companies that just won't touch it. The guy that works with Royalty actually lives in the town limits too, so he's a part of the community. He wanted to come tonight. I told him I didn't feel it was necessary with the holiday pending, but they did great work at the senior center. They cleaned up after themselves, and it looks great. And he also instructed me on how there's some maintenance things that we can do after the fact every year or so to kind of prolong that life for the first couple years that cedar gets up there, to kind of help it cure and last a lot longer. So we would seek your approval.
Was that cedar new to the building after it was moved?
No,
several months?
that was original.
That was the original, so it's probably part of the situation also, shaking down the street.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and we want to keep
Yeah.
it a historic,
Absolutely.
They renovated as
building.
much as they could except for, because the roof was still in pretty good condition. I mean,
Uh-huh.
for an 1800s
Yeah.
building,
Yeah.
but it was good, it wasn't leaking. But yes, the more winds we haven't had any leaking issues yet, but with everything, we just want to get ahead of it so we don't
Sure.
have those problems.
Okay, I call for a motion to approve the Little Red Brick House roof repair with the cedar shakes.
On behalf of my neighbor Jim Rennie, I'll make the motion.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
all in favor, we've already discussed it, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And
Motion
this will go to town council as well and be on that packet.
Okay, and the gazebo,
Okay, on the gazebo, it's the same story, same vendor. The price was, I'll turn that on. The price was $31.56, and that's for a black colored shingle. And that roof's in similar shape. I mean, it needs to be redone.
It definitely does. I have one question, though. The top of the cupola is missing, and,
So Gerald has that.
oh, he found it?
Well, I think he did. I know it was there after the tornado, and I think, so if not, we will replace it, but I'm pretty sure he has
Okay.
it. So
I was
once we
gonna
get
say-
once we get the roof, then we'll put it back up there.
Okay, that's good. That was the one thing I wanted to see happen. And you know, the gazebo was sealed last year by a volunteer, and that needs to be done like every other year. So we need to make sure to remember to do that, to keep that looking nice and deserving of a new roof. So, need a motion to go ahead and replace the roof on the gazebo.
I'll make a motion to replace the roof on the gazebo.
I'll second that
Royal
motion.
Fee.
Okay, do you guys have any questions or any discussion? I think it's definitely worth it.
So this is technically under Chris's limit. It doesn't have to go to council. We brought it to you because we just wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. I think I have it kind of lumped together in the council packet, but just to let you guys know that as
Okay.
well.
That's good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next one is the Kiwanis Community Park AED and anti-choke device.
So I am assuming our contact is on vacation this week or out this week. I didn't get to hear back from him, but we just did that big AED with Centos where we put it in each and every single one of our parks.
Okay.
And so we have that monthly check of them and the monthly fee that comes along with it. Newburgh Kiwanis asked me to come and speak, and so I spoke to give an update on the town, update on the parks. And then we just kind of talked about some of their concerns with the parks. I hadn't ever really met with anybody with them and as far as the lease goes and stuff. So we kind of talked about that. And then he had just asked if they had any extra AEDs laying around. And I was like, I'm not giving you an old AED. I was like, we have this program. Let me get you on it. I just wanted to get your guys' permission. Cook, do you remember? I was going to ask Luann, but she was out. But I think it's a very minimal monthly fee for Centos, I think.
When you figure it in with the whole contract.
Well, the whole contract, yes, but to add one
To
more.
add one, well,
one more.
the choke device was like $100, and once you buy the choke device, if it gets used, they replace it.
Yeah.
So
And then
it's
the
like $100 for the choke device, and then I wanted to say 1,300. But there was, I forget what the cost was, but essentially it's a 3-year contract. We would just amend that contract.
Yeah, to add that one.
And-
So I had sent him an email earlier this week, came back, he was out. I tried to get hold of someone else, then I tried to pull the contract. But I just wanted to know if it's okay, and I also have to take it to council too, because it's the contract that was signed. If everyone's okay with it, I just want to add them. I don't know if you guys know, and I don't think I understood how much that building is used for AA and Al-Anon. I mean, they gave me that schedule, and like Monday through Sunday, that building is used. And with that,
had
the
no
Boy
idea.
Scouts are in the other side, Kiwanis meets there. So I just feel like, since it is our park, I know we have a lease and, but I just think to be good stewards of the park and helpful of Kiwanis.
It's
And
the
it,
right thing to do.
and it will be there,
Right.
when the track is used. I mean, it's in the building, but if he had to get it, we could get it, And so, if you guys are okay with it, I'm gonna move forward and ask council to add it to the contract, so.
Okay,
And just remember that a part of that contract, they come through monthly and check each one of those devices.
Which has been a huge help to us.
And they
Oh,
do
yeah.
the software updates, and then if one was to be used, they have like I think it's less than 24 hours to get us updated pads, to get it back online. And plus our AEDs have the double, for kid and adult. So it can go for either one.
Yeah.
do we still have the AED that was donated to us eons ago?
So all of those, Centos came and, took them and we got to return them and you got so much money back.
Okay,
But they
good.
were all outdated and we
Yeah.
couldn't do the software updates on them anymore.
Yeah,
So it just kind of worked out, because they were beeping and I was trying to do the software updates, and then when Cook came in, I was like, this is driving me crazy, and then and so then that's when we found Centos and
yeah.
entered into this contract, and it helps so that I know they're all up to date, they're all there for, we have 2 at the splash pad, we have one in each park, 3 at Lock and Dam, just because of the cottages and everything, but just peace of mind that it's all there for everybody.
Yes, I totally agree, because just trying to keep track of what year what happens,
Right.
What year do we do the emerald ash borer treatment
Yeah.
versus what year do we change out the pads for
Yeah.
the AED? It,
Yeah. So I'm
It's
gonna
nuts.
ask council to add it to the contract and then get one of those put into Kiwanis, if you guys are in favor of that,
So do we have to vote on that?
if you just wanted to make a motion to recommend it, that way it
Okay,
would go to
all right.
council.
Who wants to make the motion?
So,
So
Susan,
make a
your turn.
motion to add the AED and choke device to the Kiwanis building.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I think we're happy with that.
All right, awesome, thank you, guys.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. No unfinished business. Staff reports, town council liaison.
Well, since I'm new, I don't have a lot to say, but I would like to say that we have a great park system in the town that is appreciated by many and in some ways underappreciated, and I'm excited to be a part of this. And Mary Ann has kept me very apprised of a lot of projects that are going on, and I'm especially, without sort of saying anything but saying something, I'm especially excited about the Lou Dennis projects that are in the plans, maybe some public, maybe some not, but super excited and happy to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome, yes. Town administrative manager.
I put 2 bullet points under your name. I didn't know if you want to do a Ready update, and then also the National Fitness Campaign update, if you wanted to do either of those updates.
I'll do the fitness campaign. Can we, I don't know what all to give on the Ready 2.0 other than
I can do
I'll
that.
let you handle that. But the National Fitness Campaign, if you recall, I came to the board recently about the fitness court request to start the grant process for 2026. Now, we won't go out and raise any money other than the initial grant until phase 2 is ready, funding for the playground would be finalized. But we did receive a $30,000 grant from the National Fitness Campaign to kind of start the process on the fitness court for 2026 potentially. But they did recommend that we gave multiple sites. They requested the grant's only good if we put it at the trailhead location that we discussed.
Okay, and I actually, is this on, have some issues with the trailhead location. I've been walking, it's 38 by 38 for one of the sides, and so 38 by 30 the other side, and I've been walking it, and that's gonna take away a lot of the green space there. Kids run there on the side of the on the parking lot, and I just don't think that's a good use of putting more cement in. I like the project, I wouldn't mind it somewhere else, but to me, that just isn't a good place for it.
Can you discuss what you said about that's the location where
That's the
grant,
location.
and why is it isolated to that location? or-
Because that's where the campaign, out of all the locations we gave them, that's the one that they chose that would be the best fit for what they do nationally in all the locations. That's the one where they feel it would be the best. So if the board doesn't support it, we would have to back out all that. And
Because, I mean, it's not really a grant, it's like 30,000 off of the price, right? Because I've looked, I mean, it's a company, the National Fitness Campaign is a company, and they will give you a discount of $30,000 for their, whatever, their equipment and everything. So, and I like the idea, I'm really opposed to it being there. Because once you take green space away, you can't get it back, and there's already the whole parking lot there.
I don't know what spaces you all gave them,
The Lou Dennis Park.
Lou Dennis in that one.
Yeah.
What about the 1.83 acres at Overlook, where we were gonna put the trailhead and the dog park?
I mean, I like
Yeah.
the Parks Board, I mean, they can handle it, I mean,
I don't know how big, I don't know.
I was trying to measure out, Matt's like, well, if you walk this, it's 38 by 38 for the one side with the equipment, and then there'll be the wall, and then 38 by 30 for the
38.
other side, where it's gonna be where people can exercise, do group exercise, and that's.
I mean, I
yeah.
just wish I would have known before tonight.
I didn't know we talked about it very briefly at that meeting, and then I kind of looked into it after that. Did not really have the details of the size or anything, and
Chris, I'm reading your reaction to say you've sunk a lot of time and
Yes.
energy into this.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have, and I've sought feedback from multiple folks. Everybody that I've spoken to, that's a positive location. This is the first negative that I've heard. And I mean, if you want me to tell them to cut it off, I will, and somebody else can run with it.
Is there somewhere else on the property?
No, they're on trailhead, I mean, that area is,
They
all
want
we have is
they
that
want the
green
engagement
space.
with the trail is what they want for this fitness court.
And the 1.83
Yeah.
is at the end of the
And
the
that would
trail
be a-
at Lock and Dam.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that would, but then we'd have to get core, the
have to
only other
start-
step would be the core.
we would have to
approval,
start all
so.
over the
Yeah,
process.
I mean,
And I mean, I don't have enough time to worry about that the rest of the year. If you want me to stop it now, I'll stop it, and somebody else can run with the ball, because, I mean, I don't have to do this.
I'm thinking back where the trees are that we cut back severely. We had to during our last big cleanup. Dave carrying the estuary area.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of.
that's where they're talking about.
That's where we're talking about.
That's the area.
I mean, we didn't like say exactly where, but that's where there's enough space to get this in.
Yeah.
And I just, I mean, in a public meeting, when this is the first negative that I've heard about it, I really don't appreciate that.
But
And I'm just saying that, I put a lot of time and effort into getting us this, and I've already spoken to several folks for the fundraising that are on board that I can't get into the public with yet, because I told them I wouldn't do anything until we have phase 2 of the playground lockdown. I just wish I would have had a heads up before.
to be honest, like I said, I looked at it, I saw how big it was going to be, and walking over there and just, I don't know if we want to walk over there at some point, look
I
and
mean,
see.
if you guys want, I can ask, probably next week, maybe after cleanup and everything with the fireworks, maybe if I can have, the street crew mark it out, just size-wise, just so people can see it, and we can kind of go from there.
But we gotta let them know by the end of the month.
Well, I
I'm
think-
sure we
Yeah,
can
we
do it
can
again,
figure
yeah,
that
I mean, it's,
And this board doesn't meet before when.
I feel like we're pushing through this very
Yeah.
quickly without ever really talking.
Parks Board has to approve anything that goes in the parks by unanimous vote, and then since technically that park is owned by the town but managed by the Parks Board, it has to get approval from Parks Board then the council.
Okay.
So it would have to get all three, or both approvals. To go
Well, I mean, I'll
forward,
tell them to
so.
stop and.
Well, I don't need to tell
No,
them
I'm
to
just saying, I mean,
stop.
I've put a lot of- I've put a lot of time into this, and I just don't understand why I'm finding out now that there's any pushback on it, when you could have texted me or emailed me, but we're in a public meeting and, it's just,
I just looked at it on Monday and saw the size and everything, it wasn't something that's,
it's Thursday, you could have,
I work.
I work too.
Well,
I think-
this
I
isn't
think it-
personal about you, this is about green space, and once you take it away from a spot, you're not going to get it back, and there may be someplace else.
But we
could-
met with them Wednesday, and that's what I'm saying, I wish I would have known, I could have.
I mean, I think we can talk to them. They're super nice, and like she said, I mean, if it's just a discount, not necessarily a grant, I'm sure if we would have come to them maybe next month, we would have had the same thing. So I mean, if it gets pushed back a little bit, it can get pushed back. I just think we need Parks Board to be on proof, because then it's also gonna have to go to the 5 council members, so,
I like the idea of marking it off.
I do too.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if I,
Yeah,
Then we can see.
yeah, exactly.
I'm a visual
Yeah.
learner, and,
Yeah,
you know, I had no concept of 36 by 36.
38 by 38, and then the
yeah.
other side too,
That-
38 by
that-
38.
My brain won't go there.
So my question is about the size of the project, not the physical size, but the numerical size or the dollar size. So 30% off for the equipment. How is the
Yeah.
cost of the,
30,000.
what did I say? 30,000.
so it's a
Oh,
hundred.
30 for, yeah, 30. What's the total cost? And how-
175,000.
For us,
and that's being underwritten through what method?
grants, we're gonna go after grants.
Grants,
we
and
got,
also donations?
Yeah,
or- And that, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the concrete and all that would be donated.
I see, okay,
Different businesses would be participating. There's a public art piece associated with it.
sure.
And I mean, I've put a lot of time into it.
No, I hear you, I'm understanding that. Okay.
But no, I mean, I think it's good. I like it. I think we just need to make sure that everyone's comfortable with it, that the size is. I do agree. We don't want to take away more green space. And I know we've talked about putting stuff there, whether it's a playground equipment or something, but yeah, I will have them mark, I'll try to get them market off at least by the end of the week, next week. We can reach out to them Monday and just kind of say, you know, see what we can do. And then maybe I can see if they can mark off that and, the 1.83 at Overlook. The only extra step though with the 1.3 at Overlook is the core. So there would have to be permission there, but we'd already had gotten permission from them to put a trailhead on there that ended up falling through, so.
But that would, to get a truck back there to pour that stuff, it's gonna
Well, no,
increase-
so this 1.83 is, you actually go into the new locks.
Okay.
And it's everything right to the right of
Okay.
that.
I just wanna make sure it's
perfect
not
Yeah, that
gonna
would be a great
increase
location
the
for it.
cost.
Yeah, so
And
that's.
there's parking and amenities and.
Oh, yeah, so
Yes.
you have, so the
Okay.
parking.
Everything.
Wanted to make
Yeah.
sure.
So.
Yeah.
And that would bring
It's-
people over
It's
to
the,
that
it's the
end,
very
too.
end of the trail, the Rivertown Trail ends right there, so it'll be right next to the end of the
Yeah.
trail versus there,
I'm
so.
just-
There's a
They're
lot
gonna
of,
make us reapply though. I just know, he said that once that stuff's changed, I mean, which is fine, but it'll just delay it.
I'm
So
sorry,
what's, yeah, I'm
Chris.
sorry, Chris, too.
No, I just wish I would've known. If I would've known, I could've said something when I met with them
Yeah.
and basically got
Yeah.
everything rolling.
Yeah, no, I
Because
get it.
I came here, what, 2 months ago and brought this up and started the process and, I put some bugs in some ears to raise some money, so I mean, hopefully that won't change, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I just looked at it Monday, assumed we would talk about it today. I had no idea you were meeting with them on Wednesday.
Yeah.
no, I mean, I applied, like after the
Well, I know,
last
but I mean,
meeting,
I didn't
applied for
realize
the-
there was an issue of where you put it, that it was going to be. Because I am not opposed to it. I think it's a great idea. I just am not sure that that's the place for it.
I think Andrea's point is well taken. If it were up the hill, then people on the other side, coming in and parking on the other side by the dam with the playground over there, and then the parents could go with the kids to that workout area. I think there's some real positives there.
There's,
Yeah.
yes. So I think if we had marked off the areas on both sides, then we could look at it. And, we've had a special meeting before.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, yes, if
It's-
it ends up being a situation where no, this isn't it, we can definitely,
But I would
hold
say, let's
specials.
just stop until we get the ready stuff locked down if we're gonna discuss it. And we'll tell them to hold off, because if we're gonna have to reapply, I would rather stop until we get the ready money locked down and in hand, and then reapply.
Yeah, makes sense.
That
That
works.
sounds,
Yeah,
that
sounds
sounds
good.
very reasonable. Okay, and then as far as Ready 2.0, last Monday morning, the RDA, Regional Development Authority, held a special meeting to vote on projects, and the Lou Dennis Park grant application was one of those projects that they voted on. The RDA unanimously voted to approve the funding for Lou Dennis Community Park.
Good.
The last step before we could do any kind of official groundbreaking or announcement is for the RDA to receive a final letter of commitment from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. So that group, I don't know how often they meet, but when they look at our application, and Andrea filled out some information to send along with it, we hopefully will receive a letter in the next couple of months to tell us whether or not it's funded.
So the funds will come from exactly whom?
Ready.
From Ready, okay.
Mhm.
So the Economic Development Corporation is just kind of
They're
giving
the,
it their support.
their approval process.
Or
They
we're
gave
not-
unanimous support.
Jenna knows more about this.
Yes.
She's
yes.
on the,
All right,
And this is very, very complicated,
Okay.
even for those of us that are on the board or have done this for many years. But the Indiana Economic Development Corp is a department of state government that reports up to the Secretary of Commerce.
Mhm.
So they have the funds, like these funds went through a budget session 2 years ago. And so there's been a long process of Ready 1 and Ready 2. The funny part that you guys probably don't really get to see is there's a lot of percentage requirements that have to be met in order for dollars to be released out the door. So like we, as a regional development authority, we got a bucket of money that is allocated just to Southwest Indiana. And then it's our job to vet projects and learn all about them and then award money, which is what we did this past Monday. And then the Indiana Economic Development Corp looks to us to see that we've kind of met some of those percentages and requirements, and then they will release funds as we have done that. And so, for instance, we are still awarding funds on Ready 1, and we have to be at 65% of that, which we are like super close to,
Mhm.
before they will start releasing funds for Ready 2, which is what this was awarded to. And so the Indiana Economic Development Corp is releasing, they call it pre-commitment letters, and so essentially we vote, we award them, and then it's just some documentation on our end, and then I say 30 to 90 days, just to be safe, we will receive a pre-commitment letter, the RDA will receive a pre-commitment letter from the Indiana Economic Development Corp, and then you guys will receive that letter from the RDA, and then that will be your next steps to be able to move forward.
So the Development Corp was not harmed by what happened with SB 1 and then the governor's announcements about money being cut from this, and this?
This is all awarded way back when.
Like 2 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, so this has been in the making for some time, and we have met with the new administration and all the new people in place for them to say that they are continuing throughout Ready 2. So we don't have any concern at this point that any of that will change.
so it can be clawed back like is happening in Congress.
Never say never, but as far as we know, we're pretty confident.
Okay?
Any other
Thank you.
questions?
Mhm. That's useful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then just so you guys know, this goes towards, that we have a $1.8 million playground plan. So this funding would go towards that, plus the money that the town has put aside, plus the Park Pals funding. So gets us pretty much close to what we need. So it's very exciting, and hopefully we can move forward.
Fingers crossed.
Really in the
Hope it's real.
toes in the ball.
talk about
Fingers-
the one mobilization instead of two now, because we are so close. It behooves us to save money by just mobilizing mid-states once. So we would do if everything moves along, I would imagine by the time the splash pad closes, we should know. And then we would do a groundbreaking early fall with the mobilization, probably when the weather breaks after the first year.
So he was, originally, you guys have already awarded the Ninja course, the funds are always there. We were gonna go ahead and move forward with the Ninja course. It's the same company doing the playground. If we are kind of this close and, we wanted to wait later anyways because of the splash pad and everything, it makes sense instead of doing everything twice to just do it once.
Yep.
So the funds are there, the Ninja course is in, it's been announced, it's been in the newsletters. So now it'll all just go in at once as opposed to two separate,
Good.
construction sites.
And that makes so much sense. Okay. Deputy Town Manager, your report?
That is me. You guys have my report. If you guys have any questions, let me know. As you know, we're now live streaming. The agenda looks a little different. I have to put your guys' terms on the agendas. Also, anything that's if you notice, anything that's an actual action item that I need you to vote on has to say action item next to it. So just little changes like that. But other than that, pretty much Rivertown Trail and Splash Pad are our focus right now, just the busiest two parks. Busiest two parks going on. Splash Pad is going great. The fun days in the park have been awesome. The kids have been doing the dance parties and the chalk and what do you call that thing? The dunk tank. We got a dunk tank, so they've been out there doing that. So it's been fun. We've heard nothing but positive things so far. And the only other big thing coming up is fireworks. Lockendam Park's going to be very, 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 very busy tomorrow. Or Saturday. Sorry, today is a Friday feel to it.
Paul and I
So
were just saying before, it seems
Yes,
like a Friday,
yes.
yeah.
Saturday the 5th, yes, there's a strawberry festival, the music festival, all the food trucks, then the fireworks. So I think on H&I's page, the town has shared it. There's a list of events timed out and everything, so everyone can check that out. There's, I know, trolleys and buses and parking, and it's been a big moving thing for a few months, but it's all coming together in 2 days, so I'm sure Matt
and Troy are
Matt
happy
and
for
Troy are-
Monday when Monday comes.
are
I think, yeah.
are super stressed out right now, but they've done an amazing job. We've been meeting with them. But yeah, do you guys have any questions for me or anything in my report or anything going on?
The only thing I have is that, I forgot to tell you earlier, Matt sent me a picture of where the master gardener's garden is. And it looks like there was a leak in their watering system
Okay.
there, the
Pump.
sprinkler system. It looks
Yeah.
like there was, do they have drip irrigation there or
Which,
something?
that one or that one?
The one over at Lou Dennis.
At Lou Dennis?
This was this morning. He sent me a picture. I forgot all about it.
They don't have, they just water with
Did
the hose.
somebody just leave the hose? Must have left the hose then.
Oh,
Yeah.
they leave the hose running? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's no
Yeah, okay.
irrigation there. It's just,
'Cause
they
he
run a
sent me
hose to
picture
it.
of- Yeah.
Okay. I will text the, staff and let them know to make sure that gets turned off.
There was a busted
Was there?
sprinkler head about a week or two ago.
Where?
Yeah, there was one down there at,
That you wouldn't know about.
yeah,
Oh, I was like, we don't have
It was
sprinklers
at-
at
Yeah.
Lou?
no, it was up there at the
Around.
Water Street,
Oh, Water Street Overlook?
over at the Water Street Trailhead,
But they got on that and fixed it.
yeah. Okay, Playground Committee.
I think
It
we've
may
talked about
happen.
that.
We can keep our fingers crossed.
Fingers and toes crossed.
Rivertown Trail 5K Committee.
I haven't heard much. I think they're trying to move forward with it still being Veterans Day, but we
I
haven't
would-
heard any more
I would
details.
call him. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Oh, we just met with him.
We
He
just
was,
met with them.
he was
Okay.
pretty positive.
Oh, news to me. Wonderful. Yeah,
Talked to him last night.
okay, good.
Oh, that's good. Okay, moving on to park reports. Kiwanis Community Playground.
Like I said, we met with them. I'm looking at possibly finding it somewhere in the budget to get that parking lot paved at some point. We do have a lease with them. Technically, they're supposed to maintain all that and kind of do that themselves, right? We've talked about this before. So their lease is coming up the end of next year. Can we all kind of work something out? But it's the school corporation, it's Kiwanis, and it's us. So looking for that into 2026. I think it just would as much as that is used, it needs to be done, plus it'll just make that neighborhood look a lot better too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We're
it
talking
would.
about the stormwater line.
yeah.
You can talk about the stormwater line.
There is a failed stormwater line on the northwest side of the property that's right off the track. We've kind of got it blocked off. We've let the school know. It's about $1 million problem that kind of came up from the flooding the day we had 14 inches of rain.
Yeah.
So we're working on options with the stormwater board and trying to figure out how to fund this and if we can do like phases and stuff like that. But everybody that uses that space has been notified to kind of stay away from there.
Yeah.
The main collapse is like right there off the track. There's other collapses up the line, but it's just, it's not gonna get we have to replace it. And so that'll be coming sometime in the next year.
Do we, at one point, we were talking about replacing it in phases, or do you just think it's better just to do it, get it done?
You can't really patch it.
Okay,
You have to like, I mean, it's, I wouldn't want to guesstimate how old it is. And it's metal, so the bottom, we flew it with a drone once. Then we had and they scanned it and did what they did. And there's several places where the metal is just gone from the bottom. And then after a rain event, not like a 14-inch rain event, but a significant one, we tried to fly the drone again, and now the drone won't go all the way through. And there's an area that's kind of blown out like
So it
that,
needs
and
to all
that's
be done.
right off the park. So we're working with our Commonwealth friends, and we're working with the Stormwater Board, and we're working with trying to find the dollar amount to make it work and what those options are. So hopefully in the next couple months, we'll have a game plan, so.
And that pipe is from the 50s, so I mean, it's,
Yeah, I mean, the way they did it back then, it wasn't like they just went to the store and got a length of pipe and hooked it together. They like welded pieces of metal. And picture like if you looked at a patchwork quilt of fabric, but with metal. And it's not, I've never seen one built like that, and that's how old it is. So it's time, and it's 55-inch main, or kind of big pipe. So, and the culvert that goes under the road needs to be completely replaced too, to get up to current specs and all that. So that's some of that $1 million, 900,000 and change is in that. There are some thoughts we could try lining it, but I think that's a Band-Aid.
well, and if it's like this, then it's not gonna line
Yeah.
very well either.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we're kind of debating what the best approach is forward. So hopefully in a couple months, we'll have something before the storm board, and then it'll go before the council. And then if we do construction in that area, we'll keep the board updated, since it will impact part of the park.
Okay, thank you. Lou Dennis Community Park,
Everything looks pretty good there. Andrea, the splash pad has not had to close, right, this year at all? I think that's something we should
Knock
let
on
people, I
wood.
know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know,
My
Monday at work, I said,
gosh.
everything's going so well this summer, and then we had an issue with the fish at work, but anyway,
Yes.
so I apologize.
yes.
But yeah, no, I've gone through there a few times, kids are playing, everything's being utilized.
Very bad. I will say, so Boonville, this new splash pad has had some issues. They just posted today that they're closed due to kind of the same issues that we dealt with in the very, very beginning as well. You know, they went from an old system where it was just water in, water out, right? And now they kind of moved to the same system we have where we're recycling water, the small tanks, they get hot, and so Anna has done an amazing job over there the past 2 years with that splash pad, and so they came and toured Boonville came and toured our splash pad, then Anna went to theirs and helped them out and tried to get kind of things situated. So just kind of helping each other out, but yeah, I mean, because we all want the same thing, but
yeah.
little trial and tribulations, they'll get there eventually. We got there, knock on wood, eventually. So, but no, it's been great. The kids have been great over there. We haven't, usually we lose a kid or not lose a kid. That sounds wrong. I meant a worker, a staff. A staff. Usually a high school kid or two will quit or leave. like a few weeks in, and we haven't lost any this year, so we're excited about that. They're all working and just busy over there.
The usage is great.
Yeah.
Every time I go by there,
Yeah.
it's just fabulous.
Now I have gotten a complaint about the Bradford pear tree. Chris, you're probably gonna like this. The lady who is in charge of the Master Gardener's garden would like the 2 Bradford pear trees to be removed because they're invasive species, and she does not think they belong there. And I said,
Where are they at?
they're at the very beginning, when you first pull in and turn right. They're at the very beginning of the Master Gardener's garden
Okay,
there, right behind the sign that says the park closes at dusk.
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Well, okay.
And I said, okay, we're going to do a tree inventory. And she said, well, I would love to see those removed because they are invasive.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them. And I don't know who planted them.
It's probably
But-
The funny thing was.
It was the thing to do at that
Yep.
point.
They
Yeah.
don't last forever.
Yeah,
No,
No.
no.
Maybe 25, 30 years.
When we would,
But if you drive the interstate, all those white blooms that used to be
Yeah.
gardens are all Bradford pears.
Yeah, it's so invasive, it's awful.
the,
Yeah, and we can look at
when
it.
you set up an arboretum, there's a policy that would come along with that. And that policy would apply for removal of stuff like that. So once we get the tree study, I mean, we can look at it ahead of time, but ideally is you have the tree study, you shoot for an arboretum, you ID trees like that, and then you take them out and replace them with natives so that you're not leaving a hole. And since we don't have that program up yet, I just want to look at them first and then see where.
Well, and I
Plus,
don't think,
you might get 10 complaints for
Yeah.
every one that you just got when you remove them too. So
Yeah.
just be,
Yeah.
And that's
be
what, I mean,
thoughtful about it.
we never really, we had huge Bradford pears at the cemetery, and we didn't remove them once they were there and established. But we just, our policy stated that if it ever came to where we could remove it, we would, and we never placed those back. So it's something we can look at and see what we can do, but I agree with Mr. Perry that I would be afraid, depending on how, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head how big they are, but
they're not as big as I thought that I mean, some of those Bradford pears grew like weeds. But the trunks are about that big
so when do you
around.
think, like less than 10 years ago they were planted?
Maybe 15.
No, because I've been here 9, and they've been,
Yeah, they were there then. I don't know when they were planted, but,
Let me look
and
at
who
'em.
knows if they were planted or if a bird did it.
yeah, that's,
Carefully. One
Yeah,
here and one here.
yeah,
But the,
equidistant apart.
Are those it?
Yep.
Those are the guys.
Okay.
So, yeah, I told her I would take it to Parks Board because she's a friend of mine, and so I said I would take it, but that there are some plans to deal with the trees in the town in just a cognizant manner,
managed.
yeah, in a managed way,
Like
so.
every tree, once you go the route we're potentially gonna go, you would have almost every tree in a public space on a maintenance program every 5 to 10 years.
Yes,
And you start doing proactive, you eventually get to a point where you're doing proactive pruning, and then when you do have a storm event, it doesn't impact as bad
as
because
badly,
you've been maintaining a lot of the dead or distressed areas of the tree. Good example of some proactive pruning was what we did this past week down here at State and Water Street with the large tree that's there on the riverfront. So by pruning it up, we've actually made the tree, it'll eventually be healthier, and the canopy will do more of what we want it to do.
we've needed this for so long.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're so happy that this is happening.
yeah.
The other thing about Lou Dennis Community Park is that the United Way Day of Caring, which is going to be on September 12th, 5th,
Let me
whatever.
double check.
What we had thought to do was have, we always get the people from Kaiser. They love working with us because Joe was the plant manager there, and they love working with Joe. And
And they
so,
like Jim's hot dogs.
and they like, yeah, or Gerald's hot dogs,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, whichever, yeah.
So what we thought we might try is having them move the volleyball court, because the volleyball court is going to go away with the Ninja Warrior course. So I have looked it up, did a Google search, and it can be a little unnerving to look at what all might need to be done. So I talked to Gerald, and he said, oh, no, that's not the way it was put in. So we'll talk about it after the holiday. So, okay. So Gerald and I are going to kind of get together and should I get Anna in on this too?
Yes, please.
I think so.
No, Gerald, yeah, no, but if we're gonna move it, we're gonna do it right.
That's exactly
So
right.
That's, yes, yeah, not that he wouldn't, but I know, I'm sure, I really do think it's just sand in the ground right now with
That's what it
some
is right
nets.
now.
So
Yeah.
yes, but I would like to have it edged out. I wanna make sure it's the correct depth that it needs to be and all that stuff. So
And-
I've been looking into it as well, knowing that it's coming, so, but I will, yes, just,
And I think that this would be a good group
yeah,
to
100%.
do this,
You know?
Yeah,
because they are craftsmen.
yeah, yeah.
So we're happy that could happen. But I just wanted to let the board know that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Old Lock and Dam Park South Side, I think that's Anna. And
Super
she's
busy.
in the sky.
Super busy.
Old Lock and Dam Park North Side,
Looking good, concerts are happening, people are turning out. Not as
Good.
many as the Arts Commission would like, but, you know, for different kinds of concerts, different kinds of people, it's going well. Anything on the QR codes project, up in the cottages?
No,
or-
so I've kind of, H&I's been in there, cause, you know, so we haven't done much in there, but
Okay.
we'll do all that when we
Alright.
get going.
and the furniture is in, and you're still looking for rugs?
Yes, so we decided just with the activity going back and forth, we're gonna leave the old rugs in for this weekend, and then we'll get some
Yeah,
new rugs,
afterwards, yeah.
get some new
Makes
rugs in
sense.
there. But yeah, everything else, dishes, everything, furniture, all
Fabulous.
that's new, and then Troy and I are looking at what we wanna put on the walls. So,
Artwork, you mean? Okay.
like
Yeah.
right now, it's birds, like large birds.
Mhm.
We're thinking about maybe doing like scenes, like Newburgh photos maybe, or.
Steve, guys, have you talked to
Yeah,
him?
so
Sure.
Steve gave us a bunch of photos for the new website, so
Yeah.
we have some of those.
Mhm.
And just maybe getting some of that stuff and, yeah,
Yeah,
you know, and using there's some old vintage prints, some old vintage maps I found of the locks and stuff, and like just having
Cool.
that done and put in there, I thought would be cool,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
absolutely.
working on all
For
that stuff.
visitors, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah. This
Okay.
isn't on the north side by any means, but along the river here, just one thing that has been brought to my attention several times is one of our signs that tells you which way to go when you come down Monroe Street, you know, walkers, drivers, etc. It's pretty much like this all the time. And I've leaned on it a couple times trying to stand it up, but it's gonna have to be taken out and put back in so it doesn't look quite cockney as it does right now. Just a visual thing.
Okay. Overlook Park, Tammy's on her,
Tammy's not here, yeah.
she's on her way to Florida. Rivertown Trail, I've walked that a lot. On Madison Street, where it has been redone, they put the "only" back. It's very bright
Yeah.
white letters. But the picture of the walker and the bike person are just kind of scraped off. You can barely see them. I didn't know if that was anything that could be replaced, needed to be replaced, or if, you know, "only" is just sitting there by itself.
All right, oh,
Only.
we'll look at it, we'll look
Yeah.
at it.
Only what?
Also, in terms of the park benches, you know, the benches we have here and there and everywhere, it's good to see some of them have been updated, replaced, et cetera. September 17th will be the 25th anniversary of Marcia Yaki's passing. And there's a park bench right down the street from where Marcia used to sit all the time. And in fact, there's a marker on it you can barely read now about Marcia Yaki. This is the Yak. Maybe we could gussy that up in time for her.
Yeah,
I know the museum is going to be doing a big deal
yeah,
on Marcia,
I know where it is. What anniversary is it?
25th.
25th, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will, I'll have Anna take a look at it and we'll get working on it.
Okay, great.
In Veterans Monument Park,
It's there.
it's got the siren too.
There it
Good.
is.
Parks Pals president is on vacation. Our next park board meeting is August 7th.
Does Bill have anything, I wonder? Do you have
Do
anything?
you have anything that you'd like to?
There is one picnic table down by the old dam building that's destroyed. I mean, every board has been on the,
Needs to go away?
Yeah.
I'll have,
Okay.
I
Good to
will have
know.
Anna look at that.
it's every board.
I'll have Anna look at it, we'll get it fixed.
Okay. And Jenna, what do you think about Parks Board?
I think it's exciting.
Okay.
This is
Interest?
the stuff that I talk about day in and day out, so I'm right here with you.
Okay, good, good.
Wonderful.
What will happen next is that Paul will take this to town council and ask, or say that you are interested in joining the advisory committee. And just as a heads up, one of the purposes of the advisory committee is to have people know what's going on with the parks, so that if somebody drops off of the Parks Board, you know, maybe they don't want to re-up at the end of their term, or, you know, maybe Randy or I don't wake up one morning.
Gee,
It happens.
It happens. You know, then people
that
have
we thought,
the,
yeah.
We're pretty blunt.
You need some help.
anyway, there are people who can step into the role and know what's going on and not have to start over from scratch.
That's how I was on it for years, and Tammy was on it.
Yeah,
and-
moved up. We need a bench.
Yeah,
I love that approach.
okay. All right, so our next Parks Board meeting is August 7th, and can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
So-
motion, oh,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right, Susan,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.